Hello, こんにちは。こんにちは。
こんにちは。
Okay. こんにちは。
こんにちは。
ちょっと待って。
こんにちは。
Wait. こんにちは。
こんにちは。
Welcome to our show. Shit. こんにちは。It's Rhyme here. I am with Anne. She has just released her official cover of my song meburn. It's a Japanese crack edition. So she's hacked the code, she's cracked the code, and you can now listen to the song in Japanese. meburn was released late last year, and the new music video with Anzen Taro, the safety guard robot, came out a few weeks ago. We also launched a big Greenpeace petition and action plan. So we're going to discuss deeper about meburn, some themes behind it, plastic, SNS and virtual robot mindsets, and Anne's meaning to the lyrics. So let's go.
Let's go.
She's going to answer in Japanese and I will speak in English, and what we're going to do is we're going to make the captions underneath what we're saying to give both our audiences the right meaning. Anne and I met in Tokyo. It was during the Mondo Grosso album. She featured on one of the Mondo Grosso songs, and I featured on the following album, but we had a big show at a festival and we met there. She plays guitar and she sings, she screams, she kicks things over. I was like, wow, who's this girl? So I asked her to cover officially the meburn song. So such a rock star. There. How did you feel when you listened to meburn, and why did you decide to cover it?
まず最初に一つはライムだったから、彼女とは以前から仲良くしてて、音楽の話とか、人生の話とかいっぱいよくしてて、彼女の世界観とかすごく面白くて、こう会うたびにパワーをもらったりしてて、本当にずっと一緒にやりたいと思ってたから、今回のmeburnのテーマを聞いて、彼女が取り組んでる環境問題の話とか、歌詞とか見て、単純に興味を持って、その作品にするぐらい彼女は本気で取り組んでて、それがどういうことなんだろうってことも知りたかったし、meburnっていうなんて言うんだろう、コンセプトもすごく気に入ったから、だからもう why not って感じでやりました。
ありがとう。So what did you mean in your message, in your version of the lyrics for meburn?
歌詞の意味なんですけど、基本的にはプラスチックと me を掛け合わせてる感じで作って、他者への影響とかを無視して自分の欲のままに使って消費して、で確実にこう積み重なって蓄積されて、で消えないでいく様子とかをプラスチックの末路とミーの末路は、どっちがマシかなみたいな感じで言ったりとか、最初にライムから最初にもらったテーマとしてプラスチック問題とかが目の前に迫ってるのに、みんなその関心はミーなのね。で、SNS とかでLook at me みたいなことばっかりで、でももっと他のことがあるじゃないのってことで訴えたいみたいなことで聞いてたんだけど、まさしく私も、それをすごく感じてて、プラスチック問題もそうだし、ミーとかよりももっと大事なこと、そういう問題に知らん顔してるんだけど、その知らん顔の顔の写りの方が大事みたいな歌詞にも皮肉にも書いたんだけど、meburnすることはすごく難しいことだと思うんですけど、人間誰しも自分が可愛いし、自分に都合よくなったらいいなと思ってるし、こう注目されたり嬉しいし、いろんなそれはいいこともたくさんあるんだけど、その欲の密度が一人一人こう膨張して圧迫してる感じが、幸せの形みたいなのがすごく量産的で、これがあれば幸せみたいな。で、苦しいんだったら、その一回それを全部燃やして、meburnして自分の価値観とか、過去とかを バーンすることは必要かもね。サビはバーンのインライムをその日本語を探した。で特に私が気に入ってるのは2サビのヤブ卜者も開眼、近い未来の明暗なんだけど、それがヤブ卜者って、エセ占い師、フェイクフォーチュンテラーみたいな。
Fake fortune teller.
Yeah.
How many of those have been around?
それもこうなんかうわこのままだとどうなるかが見えてるぐらいやばいよみたいな感じで書いたんだけど、それは結構好きかな。歌詞もそうなんだけど、そのライブのバージョンがゲームオブスローンズを歌詞に入れてたから、ドラマを私も入れようと思って、私はブラックミラー使ったのね、で私のカバーもちょうど歌詞の中のスマートフォンをバーンって投げて割れて、そうクラック、ジャパニーズクラックね、漏れてる私がこうちょっとクラックしてて、なんかイエーみたいなそんな感じです。
素晴らしい。So when I made meburn, it was originally written in English at the time, but the second half of the first verse I sung in Japanese. And what Anne did is she sung her first verse, second half in English. So we really kept the arrangement quite similar to the original in terms of swapping the languages and trying the messages out between each other. But when I wrote meburn, I wanted to write something that was reflecting about our current society, especially with SNS and the self-obsession, the me obsession, and this whole aspect that thinking about others and the greater picture, if it's too blurry, we're only just like jibun, me. And as you know, the internet girl, my alter ego, the internet girl, she's kind of this character that's always coming on the shoulder and sort of saying SNS, it's all, everything you see online, it's real, you just got it's very just blah. Okay. So the whole point is that it's the scrolling and the trolling. It's very hard to avoid. We have so much stuff, literally. And that's online and material. And I'm trying to imagine a world where all this stuff is literally killing us. I thought about everything that we have in this day and age, especially to do with technology. How much materials is that taking to be made? How much packaging? And, most of this packaging is not environmentally friendly. It's plastic. And the whole illusion of plastic is that plastic is transparent. Same as the phone or the screen, it's not exactly reality. It's like this kind of hologram projection. It'll be hologram soon. It's not real. We can't touch it. We can just see it and sense it. And in some way I related that to plastic. About the song, I meant to make it about virtual versus material illusion and plastic. Being obsessed with the me ideal and wanting to burn that me in order to come together and solve this shit pile of a world. Madonna always quotes, "Artists are here to disturb the peace." So I guess this is me spoiling the peace. And they wanna see me burn. What do you think about when I say plastic?
そう、プラスティックね。プラスティックって聞くとちょっとおえってなる。人間が1週間に無意識に取ってるプラスティックの量、クレジットカード1枚分っていうのを見て、それがその海とかにね、流しちゃって、その海もそう生物とかもそうなっちゃって、かわいそうと思うし。
What do you think about when I say me?
面白いけど、 面白いみーちゃんだけど、ちょっと
もう言うなでしょ。
そう、でもちょっと自分の大事なことを話しにくいかもしれない、なんかこう何か言っても自分の都合のいいように、みーちゃんの都合のいいようになんか変わっちゃうなんか感じもするし、なんかみーちゃん
We have a narcissism issue in our modern society. So, what is your advice to getting out of self-obsession?
難しい。でも、多分強烈に愛するものを見つける。人でも猫とか、音楽とか愛するものを見つけたり、あとは話し合いをするときにミってならずに、常に他者の立場になって考えながら話す。で、結構客観的に自分を見て、自分の悪いところとか弱いところを認めるのも大事かなって思うし、 SNS に振り回されそうになったらアプリのタイムセットなんていうの
like a timer, like a monitoring timer.
そうインスタグラム30分、ツイッター30分とかでもできるし、これ全部2時間とかってもう使えなくしちゃうとか、でそれでもうリアルライフで生きるみたいな、それは私もトライしてることです。
トライしたい。I get so sometimes sucked into these scroll holes, and unfortunately, like, the worst part is for me is that I just compare myself so much, and it cripples me. And it's taken years. I mean, it still is difficult, but I'm getting better. And I find that when I just get so into like, oh, my life, it's like, look at what you have. I think the problem with social media in general, and this is just looking at, like, you know, the detrimental parts, is that it makes you look at what you don't have, and instead of what you do have in some way, in the comparison, you know, aspect. And I guess, like, one thing I would do to get out of self-obsession or self-pity of comparing blah 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 is I always just think about how someone else is doing. Like, I wonder how my mom's going today. And I try and just think about her life and just send loving energy to that, you know? Or I just punch a pillow and smack myself across the face, like, wake up! There's bigger things out there. Okay, last question. Back to plastic.
Okay.
Do you do or think about plastic differently now?
そうだね、今回のそのミーバーンをやった後に結構いろいろ勉強して、プラスチックの問題のことを勉強して、自分もやりたいなと思うことがたくさんあって、エコバッグから始まって、水筒を持ち歩いたり、ストローね、ストロー使わないとか、もっとできると思うけど、少しずつやってて、でやってると、心がちょっと晴れるっていうか気持ちいいから、それこそもしかしたらなんか最初はある承認欲求を、そのプラスチック使わない私かっこいいでしょみたいな、ここからでもいいかもしれない。使ってる時よりかはすごく気分が良くなりました。もっと勉強したいと思います。ライムちゃんに聞いて。How about ライムちゃん
How about Rhyme?
How about ライムちゃんShe's a teacher.
I went down a very deep research segment of my life about plastic, because I mean, it's everywhere, and I'm wondering, like, okay, if my food is sitting in this plastic, or if I heat up this food that's sitting in the plastic in a microwave, like, what's that really doing? Like, what's not only to myself but the environment, or like, I just wanted to know more about things in my everyday life and like figure out, okay, you know, there's so much emphasis on health and personal health and collective health, and I really wanted to, you know, look at all these aspects of daily life and go, okay, well, what is health and what is health packaged in or presented to us in? You know, everything is packaged in plastic. We can't avoid it now. It's just a reality. But once you dig deep into what's inside plastic and the chemicals inside about long-term effects that, you know, we're just starting to see in modern society now, because the reality is plastic is still a fairly new product, about 100 years old in our society, and it's still not being able to be broken down correctly. And where is that going? That's going into the environment and the oceans most of the time, and these microplastics are just floating on the ocean. And that's why I stopped eating fish. Look, I just recommend that you should go down that research and do your own research, because I'm not here to just sit and like talk every plastic fact in the world, but I do have some good news. GreenPeace Japan have launched a petition in order to get your signature and present it to big companies to say, hey, let's think about plastic waste and ways that you can implement regulations, because the people are asking for it. So you can sign that petition. GreenPeace also launched a new application that is a map of Tokyo, where you can see which stores or restaurants or places are accepting reusable bags or cutlery, or they offer more services into being plastic and waste free. The other thing you can do is write a letter to your local supermarket. I did that recently to Seijo Ishii, calling you out here, because I think that we just don't need all the extra little plastic bags. It's like I buy one edamame bean and they want to put it in a plastic bag. I'm like, you don't need to. I can wash it with water and clean it. Like it's just... So it's really exciting to see Tokyo making this big move, especially because Japan is a very plastic country. And hopefully it's going to keep growing more and more, and people can, you know, see like, okay, where can I fill up my laundry detergent, or where can I bring my ohashi, my chopsticks, and eat with my own ohashi, or where can I bring my reusable cup. So thank you, Anne, for joining me and covering my song meburn. I love your cover, and I love your artwork cover too.
Thank you.
Really, thank you. ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
I can't stop smiling. Check out the song. I will leave the links in the description. You can also subscribe and like the video. Now I sound like a YouTube blogger. It's because I watch too much YouTube bloggers, I think. Any last words, Anne?
ライムのミーバンは前にもうリリースされていて、でミュージックビデオもあります。私のやつもリリースされました。で2人とも思いを込めて書きましたので、ぜひ聴いてください。よろしくお願いします。